Hello everybody, this is Starhammer and this is the very first video of this channel. Welcome all. So this channel is named Starhammer and Misk, right? So this channel is basically named out of a combination of the two things that this channel will mainly focus on. Warhammer 40,000, or better known as 40k, because you know K is like 1,000, and Star Wars. Now, why Star Wars and Warhammer 40k or Warhammer 40,000? The reason why is because both of these sci-fi series are a coping mechanism for me. So, and what is a coping mechanism? And yes, I'm actually doing this because there's going to be at least one person going to ask, what the hell does that even mean? And by definition, coping mechanism is a strategy people use to tongue twisted. Coping mechanisms are the strategies people often use in the face of stress and trauma to help manage painful or difficult emotions. And to kind of extend to that, it's also a way for people to really deal with personal problems or issues. And the reason why I got into Star Wars and Warhammer 40k in the first place was because I had, like every human being, we gone through some struggle, we got through something big in our lives, right? For me, I used to be in a Bible cult, and that experience was very traumatizing for me, and Star Wars and Warhammer 40k was a way for me to cope with that. Originally I would focus on Star Wars, and then later, which I'll talk about in a little bit, Warhammer 40k into dealing with stressful situations. That's basically one of the factors in why I focus on these series the most in my life. The other reason is because I've always had a fascination for sci-fi. I am an English major. I graduated of Cal State Dominguez Hills. And English has always been my subject since like high school. I've always loved to read, but it's kind of interesting because I used to be a math person, and then high school, that's when I started focusing on English more, because I'm the kind of guy who likes to look at the whole spectrum and be like, you know, there's more than one answer to something. So yeah, that's why. So that's why the focus, and that's just a little background myself. I'll talk more about my past in a future video, because I actually have a channel explaining my trauma experience with this Bible cult, and kind of explaining like how the operates and whatnot. So this channel is going to mainly focus on the lore. Now, what is lore? So by definition, lore is a body of traditions and knowledge on a subject or held by a particular group, typically passed from person to person by word of mouth. Or to put it more simply, is really just information or expertise on a particular subject or group. That's what lore is. And by lore, I'm going to focus mostly on the novels, right? So, Star Wars novels. So I'm going to focus mostly on the novels. I might talk about the comics as well. And I'll mostly focusing things that are popular or very interesting. And just something that's not as interesting, but if it's requested by you, the audience, I'll definitely do that as well. Because Star Wars, they have canon, which is basically all the content after April 2014. Because, like, 2014 was the year that George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney. So everything made from 2004, early 2014 onward is considered canon now. Anything made before that is considered legends or, like, I guess, filler. It's just kind of. As you see, Warhammer 40k has a lot of novels as well. An insane amount of novels. Because the thing about Warhammer 40k is that they don't have just novels. Oops, sorry about that. They have what is called omnibuses. An omnibus, by definition, is a volume containing several novels or other items previously published ever to the. So basically, in other words, to put it more simple, an omnibus is basically a book that is composed of several novels at once, and novels are typically long, like 400 pages long. Yeah. Okay, so it's not what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay, as you can see, this is just a brief list of omnibuses that Warhammer has. It's not the complete set. And you notice, see how really thick each omnibus is, and they're very long. In the video, I'll show you my library, and it's like really, really like thick. So first, what is Star Wars? Which is more familiarized, something that's more, I guess, considered like mainstream. So Star Wars, by simply, is an American epic space opera media franchise created by George Lucas. Right, it started with the film, which became a trilogy that was created in the 70s, early 80s. That's the original trilogy, with Luke Skywalker as the main protagonist, along with his friends and family, Han Solo, Leia Organa, C-3PO, R2-D2, etc. Then there's the prequels, which were created in 1999. The main focus of Anakin Skywalker, Luke's father. So as a side note, as a kid, I grew up when the prequels were created. So I'm, I guess, a prequel person. And I thought that the prequels were, oh, they're pretty good, especially Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith. Mm. With Star Wars, I felt like, especially with Disney now taking over, like almost anybody can kind of enjoy it. That was kind of a funny, I guess, meme I found. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. Yeah, looks like I can't find it. So, but I don't want to waste the whole video trying to find it for you guys. I'll do it in a future video, show you this really funny meme. Where it says basically, Star Wars is for boys while Warhammer 40k is for men. And there's a lot of truth to that. Because Star Wars is, like I said, mentioned a bit earlier, that kind of anyone can just pretty much enjoy that. But as for Warhammer 40k, see, just a little back context, that Warhammer 40,000 was created in the 80s. It originally started off as a miniature game, which expanded upon into novels. It expanded from the tabletop into, a lot of novels, a lot of lore, as well as the concept of painting. So the lore, painting miniature figures, and the tabletop is the main focus of Warhammer 40,000. So Warhammer 40,000 is technically still sci-fi. And so the thing about Warhammer 40,000 and as another YouTuber, Luton06 mentions, is that Warhammer 40,000 is a series that happens where everything within the universe happens very slowly, because it's not like Star Wars where things happen within a few years or a few decades at the latest. Everything in Warhammer happens within centuries at the minimum, or that would happen several millennia. By millennia, I mean like thousands of years. 1,000, 2,000, 40,000, etc. Warhammer 40k, it's really hard to know where to start with. I guess you have to kind of start in the beginning. And for this channel, I'll mostly focus on humanity, like the people, the human race, and their actions, as well as chaos. Because there's aliens such as Xenos, the Eldari, orcs, etc., but the universe is very ridiculous, and it's kind of dumb, but it's designed that way. It's done that it's entertaining. And everything happens in the universe so slow. And keep in mind that Warhammer 40k was created back in the 80s, when this is created at a time before there was internet, social media, and the like. So the 80s, the only real technology you had was I don't know if there were phones or not, but there were definitely just TV and radio. So you just have to pass the time somehow. See? And also the thing about Warhammer 40k is that it is a series that you need to have a certain personality. Apart from it being in universe everything happens so slowly, there's a lot of stuff in there that it basically kind of drains your soul in a way. There's a lot of horror, etc. And this is stuff that's definitely not Christian, or not those who are religious in that context. So I don't recommend it for those. So if you're that kind of person who's religious, or really from your personal beliefs, I don't recommend the Warhammer 40k series, because it's a lot to digest and take in. Okay? And this is a really cool website where you can basically look at Warhammer 40k and also kind of expansions on Warhammer. Age of Sigmar, Chronicles, Horror, different series, and the Horus Heresy. Horus Heresy, I guess, to put it simply, it's the prequels to Warhammer 40,000. The Horus Heresy happens within the 31st millennia, while Warhammer 40,000 happens within the 41st millennia. In a dystopian world where there's nothing but war. It's also a universe where nothing is black and white. So in regards to morals and what is right, what is wrong, what is evil, what is righteous, and justice is very subjective. Right? So there's no clear set answer. The same could be pretty much said for Star Wars. At least outside of the original trilogy. And Conan Curse is one of my favorite higher marks. I'll explain that in a future video, why he's one of my favorite. There's other places like Amazon where you can get it for cheaper, but it's also would be nice to buy from a Black Library once in a while, especially like if you're getting a special edition of a book like the primary books, because once they sold out from BL, then they're basically almost impossible to find, let alone buy. Yeah, so if you're gonna buy anything from Black Library, anything, you definitely want to buy the special edition books, because those run out very, very quickly. But like I said, I'll talk more about that in a future video. Star Wars, this was a blog I made. I like Star Wars, y'all. Blocked up account, and don't worry, I'll put a link to the description to the things I've showed you in this video. And the last post made was earlier this year, February 2019. So yeah. So it's not like I lost interest in Star Wars completely, it's just that I got into Warhammer 40,000 kind of because of Star Wars, ironically. So this was basically just books, right? If you want to check the blog out, it's still up. Link in the description below. So how did I get into Warhammer 40k in the first place? So this all happened. So it was actually kind of an accident. It was through this video by Eckhart's Ladder that talked about like battle royale between Star Wars, Warhammer 40k, and two other sci-fi series, like which is like the better. Find it. Yep, it was this video. Because at the time I thought Star Wars was the best sci-fi ever, and nothing can top it off. But I was wrong. So this is the first video I saw. This was back in April 2018. And Warhammer 1 in this video. I was like, what the hell is Warhammer? And I looked it up, and that's how I got into Warhammer 40k in the first place. It's because of Eckhart's Ladder, who is mainly a Star Wars fan, a Star Wars channel, so to speak. So that's kind of my origins as far as how I got into Warhammer 40k. And now you're probably thinking through this video like, but wait, your channel says Star Wars and MISC. What is that? So MISC is short for miscellaneous. Miscellaneous is just various type of other things, right? So I might talk about other things as well in this channel, but it will not be the main focus. If I do talk about other things, it's gonna most likely be stuff that is sci-fi. For example, like this anime series called Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Let me type it up for you guys. Yeah, this is a sci-fi series that was made in 1989 and it got remade. No, 1988 and then got remade last year. Where they have it's called the light novel series, which is like basically Japanese novels that got translated into English. Also, if there's anything that I talk about in this video that I forgot or something that I am mistaken about, feel free to correct me in the comment section below or message me directly. No. Yeah, so novel series. This is a whole series of novels. Yeah, this is not a manga. This is like a series of novels. So there's more to come, etc. Something I'll definitely talk about. Another series I may talk about is Dune, which is another sci-fi series, which inspired, Warhammer 40k as well as Star Wars. Just created by Frank Herbert. Rest in peace. Yeah, there was a series that was made in 2000. I was not aware of the series at the time, because I was like more of a Star Wars person. Well, it's what's interesting though is that when it first came out, I wasn't that into Star Wars. Ironically, because I was into like very different things. It wasn't until more recently, after I finished college, that's when I got more into sci-fi, just Star Wars, etc. Yeah, so this is Dune. I'll probably talk about this a little bit. I'm still reading the first novel of the series, but I haven't gotten to everything yet. Another thing that I'll talk about is anime. Like some stuff that interests me. Let's say like Dragon Ball. Right, so for me, this is Dragon Ball manga series. But this is what we consider miscellaneous on my channel because there's enough channels that cover, this wildly popular manga series that's still going on to this day. Another series would be One Piece. This is more of a recent creation. One Piece. There was another series called Naruto that I was interested in, but after that series ended, I just kind of lost interest. There's also another series called My Hero Academia. I may talk about that in the future. Yeah. So this is what I mean by miscellaneous. Just other stuff I'll talk about as well, but it will not be the main focus of the channel. As far as reviews, I will probably not do reviews, especially movie reviews, because one, there's like other channels that do that already, and two, I'm not really a movie person, so to speak. Like I've seen movies in theaters before, but going out to see movies not necessarily my thing. If anything, I just wait till the movie comes out, or I can find it online and get it streamed, etc. and watch it from there. And this is more or less the end of the first video. This is just a lot of stuff I'm going to talk about throughout the series, the omnibus, etc. Also, talk about other channels that I recommend. I talk about other areas. For example, like Warhammer, they also have the tabletop and like painting channels, so recommend those as well. Star Wars, they have other videos, other channels that do the lore as well, also do reviews, etc. I recommend those channels, as I'll definitely put a link to those channels in the future. But this one's more of an intro video. And that's pretty much it for this very first video. Oh, and also one more thing actually before I go is that as far as the upload schedule, it's gonna be every month. Every like 4 to 6 weeks. The reason why is because the main reason is that one, I do have a job, so I don't have time to make videos that often. Also, the fact that I don't have an editor or someone to help me with these videos, so I'm basically doing everything from scratch. It's probably like the second, third time recording this video, and this is the version that you're seeing right now. And also, I want to give people time to kind of digest things, because when you really think about it, eventually you're gonna run out of stuff to say, lore-wise, because eventually you're gonna read all the novels, and then you're like, in the comics, you're like, okay, what can I talk about next? So that's why this channel is called Starhammer and Miscellaneous. So the name Starhammer is a combination of Star Wars and Warhammer together. So what I did was, how like this is the word Star Wars and this Warhammer, so I just replaced war with star, and you get Starhammer. So as far as how I came up with the name is not super interesting. That's just very anticlimactic, to be very honest. Yeah. And now this is it for the first channel of this video. Any questions or comments? Leave in the comment section below. If you have any requests for videos, or have some video topics I have in mind, but you definitely can request them in the comment section below, or you can message me through YouTube. And that'll be it. Until next time.